You guys can't hear me. Wow. I just totally botched that whole thing, you guys. I'm so sorry. I was just talking the whole entire time. Sorry about that. Hello, guys. Total technical difficulties today. This is totally how it should go when you're new to doing streams. Welcome, you guys. Welcome back. I'm going to go from the beginning from what I was talking about earlier. Is it a good thing that the Steelers didn't make the playoffs? Wow. Is it a good thing? Personally, I think it is a good thing. Sean doesn't think it's a good thing. Why? Because when you have a rookie quarterback like Kenny Pickett, who didn't even get to play a full season, do you feel confident enough, even though, we saw his progression through the end of the season? Do you guys think that we even would have stood a chance in the playoffs? Now, I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier when I was muted. The real question is, with the way the Dolphins played, the Bills, could the Steelers have actually won that game as our team is right now? See, I'm going to say a hard no. No, I don't think that. I don't think that we would have won because there's so much that we still would have had to work on. Like, the Dolphins already beat us this season. Yeah, so you can hear me now. Thank you guys. So much better. Oh my God, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with me. We all make mistakes. We all go through technical difficulties, but I'm glad you all stuck around. All right, let's continue the conversation, you guys. Let's continue on. So what I was saying when I was muted, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not in a position to succeed right now in the playoffs. That is my personal opinion. Just because of all of the little things that we are still working on. Yes, the end of the season, the last game of the season, was probably some of the best football that we've seen from the Steelers all season. Can anybody agree with that? Because I think that that is setting us up to win a playoff game next year. You guys, we've gone to the playoffs how many years and still haven't won a playoff game? I think that this is all a blessing in disguise. Yeah, we might get a little angry, a little upset that we didn't make it to the playoffs this year, but this is all setting us up for next season, in my personal opinion. Brian Brown says, no, it's a horrible thing. The playoffs stink without the Steelers. Well, what happens when the Steelers stink in the playoffs? Steeler Nation Australia says, there's the pros and cons. However, the Steelers could have beaten the Bengals, Dolphins, and maybe beaten the Bills. See, that is a good point. I think that there are pros and cons to all sides of this. So I'm glad that you guys are sharing your opinion. Who else can we hear from? The Bills would be done if they had played the Steelers, Brian Brown says. Now, do you really think that after they kind of did us over earlier this season? I don't know. That's just saying. That's all I'm saying. Frosty the Bear says Steelers D is better than the Finns at this point in the season, and the run game would have helped to keep the game close, and the Bills are flawed. So, yeah, I agree. The Bills are flawed right now. They don't have Von Miller. You know how Von Miller got injured. I don't think they have a full 100% Josh Allen, but they still have pretty good depth chart when it comes to the receivers and the running backs. So that area I'm not concerned about with the Bills. With the Bills, I feel like it's more of like a Josh Allen thing at this point. He threw, 4 picks the other day, still win the game. George says, I believe the Steelers would have won at least the first round in the playoffs. Do you really believe that? Well, I'm glad that you're so confident. That's great to have. Confidence is key. Because the last win in postseason, Frosty the Bear makes a great point, was 2016. So that's over 5 years ago, guys. And given the way that the NFL is and all the talent and everybody out there that's, showing what they're really all about, the Steelers aren't there yet. Next year, maybe they will be. Maybe we'll see more faces on the offense next season. Some people from practice squad that maybe have just signed 1 year. Anybody see that Anthony Miller 1-year deal? We might get to actually see some talent. Next year, we might see Calvin Austin. You guys, there's so many good things that are coming our way. And I think that's just something excited to look forward to. So when we can actually go, deep into the playoffs, make a really deep playoff run. Let's see, I'll go to this comment now. Next season is going to be good for our team, a real bright future. Yes, exactly. Everything that we were just talking about. everything that we had seen is going to be great for our future. Sean says, who wins next week between the 49ers and the Cowboys? I'm going to say the 49ers, you guys. I think the 49ers have really put together a pretty solid team this year, and I would be worried about them. Now, if you were talking to me maybe 6 weeks ago, I would not say that they're going to be a big contender, but I think the 49ers, I love what the Cowboys have done with their team this year. We've never seen a team like it. We saw them beat Tom Brady last night, and it was the greatest thing ever. However, the 49ers are a whole different story. They got Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and Deebo Samuel on offense, leading them down the field. Now, if you're not scared about that, I feel like the Cowboys should be scared a little bit. Back to the Steelers now. Matt Canada and his .00001 points a game holds the team back. See, that's another thing that I want to ask you guys. There are still talks of a new offensive coordinator potentially coming to the Steelers. Now, reports came out today saying that Mike Tomlin is dealing with some personal issues. There's really not going to be any momentum right now in regards to that position. From the outside looking in, yeah, it looks like Matt Canada is going to stay. However, if there are rumors of potential candidates talking about that position, it kind of gets me excited. Even though I accepted, I know I said last week, I accepted the fact that we might have Matt Canada again next season. Perks, there's perks to it. There's cons to it. I don't know. Whatever happens. What do you guys still think in that? MAKENZIE, who is better, Matt Canada or Brian Leftwich? I mean, I feel like that's not exactly a hard question. I feel like it's supposed to be like a tricky question because anybody's better than Matt Canada. Anybody's better than Matt Canada. I mean, of course, Brian Leftwich is going to be better. Come on. Canada College game plan keeps the O in the bottom of the league, and it won't get better. Frosty DeBear says he needs to go no matter what. I don't care if his contract's up tomorrow. I don't care if his contract's up in 2 years. He needs to go. That is what Frosty DeBear thinks. Also thinks that Canada is staying one more year, unfortunately. So that's the hard truth, right? We all want Canada to be gone, but the hard truth is that he's probably going to stay. I don't know. There's a little talks going on. There's something brewing. Maybe it's not with the OC. Maybe it's other position on offense. I don't know. It's true that this offense is going to struggle until the Steelers change offensive coordinators. Yes, maybe. But we did see the end of the season make a turn for the better. I think it was really funny when we saw the camera went on Matt Canada in the booth, and he looked so like the writing on his face was like, if I don't do good this game, if I'm not creative, then my job's on the line. Like, did anybody catch that? Of him like being like super like focused and like I have something to lose here. I feel like we weren't seeing that at all season, but I guess something happened at the end of the season and he showed it. But let's see. Steelers Nation Australia says, yep, I want him gone, but it looks like he's going to stay, so Canada better turn up the volume. Yeah, he better turn up the volume. He started turning it up a little bit at the end of the season. See if he can carry that through the offseason and into the next year. We're gonna have to agree with this statement, you guys. The O-line got better. Yes, the O-line did get better. However, that doesn't mean that we still can't, really, really pound on getting an O-line in the draft. Even though I know corner is another position that we're really focused on getting in this draft. I have not done much mock drafting yet because the season is not even over. I will be doing that in a few weeks. However, is there anybody that you guys see in particular that may, spark some interest that could look beneficial for our offense or defense next year? Brian Brown says the Steelers have literally scored 14 points a game for like 2 years. What's going to change? I hope it does. Well, I think it all starts with, the play calling being a lot better, not being predictable, being creative. We've seen all these teams. I've said this before. I'll say it again. We've seen all of these teams be so bad in years past. So bad. And something happened over the past few years. They're rebuilding a team. They're getting new faces. They're getting young coaches. They're getting creative minds in the building so they can be successful in years to come. And I don't see how we're doing that if we're keeping around somebody who hasn't really adapted or showed much change. But hey, maybe next season will be different. Yeah, Steelers Nation Australia agrees the O-line was great near the end. And the Steelers need to build around Kenny and take over the AFC North. You guys, I saw something earlier. I want to get your opinion. Is it better for Kenny to have a new offensive coordinator now in his second year? Or is it better for Kenny to stick with Matt Canada, who he's already learning from, they're learning each other. Do you think it would be beneficial for Kenny to keep Matt Canada around next year? I want to hear your thoughts about that. Kenny P is going to have some say if he wants Canada back or not. So he thinks that Kenny has his opinion matters in this decision. Matt Canada's offense averaged 17 points this year, which is really, really, really bad. You're not going to win Super Bowls with winning 17 points average a game a year. And Sean says, take a look at, how am I saying this correctly? Saki Ika from Baylor as a true nose tackle. Wouldn't that be nice to have like a true nose tackle back on our team? You guys, what do you think is going to be the key to being more successful next season? Is it getting Kenny in sync with his receivers, getting the running game down, making sure Najee and Sam Warren continue to flourish on offense, getting an O-lineman, or building our defense even further into getting a corner? And this is the next great point to talk about. Do you think the Steelers will go offense or defense within the first round pick? You guys, what do you think we need more? O-lineman or a corner? I want to hear what you guys think, because this is a great question. Should we be getting somebody on offense like we have been, or should we go defense? What do you guys think? Steelers Nation Australia says getting more weapons. Getting more weapons would be great. I agree with that. The change of coordinators, or let me see. Get rid of Butterfingers, get a corner, and a D lineman. Okay, so Butterfingers meaning Deontay Johnson. Who wants to see Deontay Johnson go? Because, I mean, listen, guys, I'm still okay with keeping him around. I don't mind him. If you guys think that it's more important to get rid of Deontay Johnson, to trade up to get a corner and a D lineman, then great. It could all be beneficial for the Steelers. Anything that will help the Steelers be better next season. You're interested to see who Khan picks up during free agency before the draft. Yeah, guys, free agency, it's a time where I feel like all these star players, are standing on their podiums and they're all like, this is what I have to offer. This is what I have to offer. This is what I offer. If you don't like it, I can leave. You can let me leave. You want to let me leave? I can find a better team. I think free agency is so interesting to see how these athletes leverage themselves to get what they want. John says, go with the best player available on offense or defense. Well, hey, I mean, that doesn't mean that we're going to get what if it's a quarterback? What if the best player available is quarterback? Do you think that we're going to be getting a quarterback? I don't think so. Frosty the Bear says, I trade Johnson out. So Frosty the Bear thinks that we should probably get rid of Deontay Johnson. Brian says DJ's a good receiver overall. I got no issues with him. I mean, like, look, I don't have any issues with him. He came up with some pretty good plays this year. I honestly, it won't affect me, whatever happens.
I didn't get that. Could you try?
Siri says I didn't get that. Siri must not understand Steelers talk. That's so funny. Deontay is open a lot, and so is George Pickens. And so if Deontay Johnson does stay with us, I just think that the door just continues to open up for him, and we know that Kenny will get the ball to him. Same with George Pickens. So, like I said, happy either way. Let's see. Deontay is an outstanding route runner, but he has average hands, and he is scared of contact, which adds to his drops. That's a really good point to make, you guys. Do you think Deontay Johnson is scared of contact, scared of injury? Do you think that's preventing him from being as successful as he could be on offense? Sean says, give Siri a terrible towel. Siri, do you want a terrible towel? I don't think she heard me. I think she should have one. Everybody should get a terrible towel. I mean, hell, I need one. We all need a terrible towel. Everybody needs a terrible towel in their life, right? No, but what we do need are veterans on defense and draft backup O-line, add depth and get experience. So Ragu thinks that we need veterans on defense, which we have, and draft a backup O-line to add depth and get experience. So what you're saying is that we just need to continue to add to what we have right now. I agree. DJ played good this year, but he gets too much flack. He had some good games. Yeah, he didn't have all good games. He had some good games. It would be nice to see him more consistent on offense. That is for sure. But hey, I mean, no one's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I gotta work it. Anybody know that song? All right, I think George Pickens needs to be the number one receiver. I think he deserves to be the number one receiver. Personally, I think he's the most talented receiver in the NFL. Sorry, Debo Sam. Sorry, but yeah, no, seriously, you guys. I think that George Pickens should be the number one receiver because he is the number one receiver in the NFL. So, no question about that. You just hate it when DJ runs backwards. Jared Devil, we all hate it when DJ runs backwards because when he runs back, he ain't going forward. We all know that. That's why he runs backwards if he catches it. If, keyword, if he catches it. If the draft starts tomorrow, who would be your choice at 17? Like what position? Because I can't name all the players off the top of my mind right now. I don't know all the players' names. I'm gonna have to do some research. Maybe next week we'll do some more draft talk. I just didn't want to get into much draft talk right now because the season's still going on and there's still so many other players that are playing right now that we could see with the Steelers next season, like Tremaine Edmonds, who I'm hoping does come back to the Steelers, you guys. So right now, if I had to pick a position, corner. I want to rely on more than one person to get interceptions, not just Minka. You know what I mean? Can't rely on Minka to get all the interceptions. We had a bullet on defense and running and scoping out the ball like Minka does. We'd be unstoppable. Get DJ a choreographer. Do you think Juju needs to come back? Wasn't Juju a pretty good dancer? Do you think Juju should come back and help DJ out a little bit, you guys? John says we need a defense that doesn't turn into Jello when TJ goes down. So OLB depth. That is a very good point, you guys. What happened this season when we saw TJ go down? I know what my fantasy saw. My fantasy saw no points from the defense once TJ was gone. And what does that say? What does that say? Not just because I'm salty about my fantasy team, but because all of us Steelers were salty of how poorly our defense played without TJ. So yeah, I really like this statement right here. I really think that we need a defense that does not turn into jello when TJ goes down. It's as simple as that. The Steelers should sign Tremaine Edmonds, but why would Buffalo let him go? I don't know. Maybe he wants to come back and play with his brother. I mean, I'm sure he has some say in the decision himself, you know? So I would love to see the Edmonds brothers back together. Robert says, George Pickens is not the Steelers' number one receiver. He doesn't get open like Deontay Johnson. I disagree with this statement. I think that he's open. We're just not getting the ball to him enough. We haven't targeted him enough. I think that he needs to be targeted more. And then we'll see him produce more, which will make him wide receiver 1. But I think his talent is just supersedes all of the wide receivers. Just this man is setting a trend for the wide receivers and the future of wide receivers in the NFL. Brian says, and then Jared Evil says, yeah, you don't think he's going anywhere either? That's a shame. I hope he can't. I hope he comes. It would be so nice to have another set of brothers on this team again. If only if he can teach to go forward with those moves, you'd want Juju back. That's funny. I think that I don't know. I don't know how much Juju would add to our team anymore, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Should we try? Here's another question. Okay, good question. A good little pivot. Okay, should we try to keep Mason Rudolph or Trubisky or sign someone in free agency to back up Kenny? Well, see, the quarterbacks coming into the NFL this year, I think, are very talented. I think those guys are going to definitely want to go to a team where they're going to want to, hopefully get a chance to start one day. And if we draft one of those guys with Kenny Pickett as our quarterback one, I just don't know how important it is for us to draft a quarterback in this draft. So I think that now we keep Mason and drop Mitch. That's where I would go, because I don't think Mitch benefits us whatsoever. I think Mason Rudolph can do just as better a job as Trubisky. Frosty the Bear says Mason and Mitch are history. Yeah, Mason and Mitch, one of them is going to have to stay. Who? I don't know. I don't know who. It's going to be a very good question to see what happens. Personally, it looks like Mason Rudolph's probably going to leave. But I kind of want him to stay at this point. And that sucks to say, because I really crapped on him a lot this year. But if he can do something good for us, if Kenny goes out again, which I hope Kenny doesn't go out again, we just need someone to finish a game. Would love to see Hargrave come back, but I think he's in the same boat as Edmonds. Yeah. See, that's another hard one. There's so many good players that we had that, we gave away. They just left. That would totally make the Steelers a lot better. Add to the depth what we're talking about. But who knows? We just got to wait for this offseason to finish to see what the guys are feeling. And if Tremaine wants to come back to the Steelers, hey, my arms are wide open. Come on here. Come on back to the Steelers. Come on. Brian says Mason got hosed. Hosed like water? Like they went out on the street and they just hosed him with water? Kidding. Yeah. Oh, that's hard. That's a hard one. Do y'all think that we should keep Mason around? What do you guys think? I want to hear your opinions about that. Neither wants to be in Pitt. Volunteers, not hostages. We need volunteers to be our QB2 and QB3, because clearly Mitch and Mason have other things in mind, have other plans in mind. Like he should have started. What do you mean he should have started? What do you mean by that? Who should have started? Who should have started? Let's see. You guys, I know one thing that's for sure is I'm excited to see these players that we didn't get to see last season. Like Calvin Austin. Hello, is anybody excited to see Calvin Austin? And is anybody excited to see Anthony Miller? Anybody? Anybody excited to see those guys? We don't even mention them. We barely mention them. The standouts at camp. It's supposed to be huge for us this year. Let's see. Would you consider Josh Jobs if he becomes a free agent? Yeah. Yeah. Poor Josh Jobs. Oh, man. Love that man. He is. I think we totally took him for granted. Josh Jobs did well with the Titans. He did well. He's very, very smart. He's someone like him. He's a team player. He's someone that you would want on your team as a backup. But after I don't know. I think that Josh Jobs is out of the question at this point. I just don't think that he's going to come. You think Mason Rudolph should have started this season? I disagree. I think that Kenny Pickett still should have started the season. Still think that he should have started the season, but that's just me. That's just me. Mason is shell-shocked. He's got to go. He ended up QB3 for a reason. He will fail no matter where he goes. That's a little mean to say. I wouldn't go that far. I think Mason is accurate. I think that he's just not Kenny. He's just not QB1 material. There are so many quarterbacks I feel like that, you're either QB1 material or you're kind of you're more of a QB2 material. And I feel like that's just what like Mitch and Mason bring to the table. I mean, we all know this. We all know that Mitch is just not very good. We've seen that. That's why Kenny had to come in. Thank God he did. Why are so many Steelers always injured year after year? Now, that is a great question because we see so many players get injured every game, not even just on the Steelers, but on every team. How do you eliminate injuries? How do you go? I mean, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can play a little smarter, but we've seen players run on their own without any contact and sprain and tear their ACL. So I just think when it comes to, maybe the quarterback position getting injured, that comes with protecting the quarterback. With concussions, we see it all. It's just a matter of how, smart these players are when they get hit. Being tackled, maybe unsportsmanlike conduct, like so many little things that have happened. We've seen players get injured this season, and it breaks my heart because it's like, are you really playing that like to kill the guy? Like that's not what we're playing. Like that's not, we've seen so many fluke things happen this year. Like that's not why we're here to play. It's not why we're here to play the game. Now, I admit, hindsight, Kenny Pickett is the way to go. Yeah, there you go. He takes his word back. He goes from Mason should have started this season. Now I admit, Kenny Pickett was the way to go. Are you confident in our O-line as starters moving forward? I mean, I think that we still need to be better on with our own line. I don't think it's perfect. Like I think there's so much more we can do to improve. We're not perfect. I'm not confident at all. We still saw Kenny get injured a few times this season. We can do better. That's all I gotta say is we can do better. Injuries got worse and worse after the change to the CBA with fewer practices in pads. Injuries got worse after the change with fewer. So you're thinking that the change was the reason why that we saw more injuries this season. That's a very good. I'll have to think about that one. Kenny will get in all of the reps in preseason and weekly practice this year. The offense should hit the ground running. Yes, this is what I'm talking about, you guys. This is what I'm talking about. We will finally see Kenny be QB1, get QB1 reps, prepare himself, knowing that he's going to be the starting quarterback next season. You guys, I mean, I might be getting a little too excited. Yeah, it's only mid-January. We still got to wait till August to see them take the field again. But I'm pretty confident. That we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to surprise a lot of people next year. I really do. But, a lot of teams surprised us this year. Got to think about that. Mason laughs every week when he goes to the bank. He only suited up one game and made like $4 million. Imagine that, you guys. Isn't the life so nice? I was talking the other day to someone about, like, can you imagine, like, getting picked up? Not even like undrafted free agent, right? And you having like a little under $1 million on your contract. And we're over here thinking, man, wouldn't it be nice to just get $100,000 on your paycheck, right? We're over here being like, oh, wow, wouldn't it be nice? Meanwhile, Mason Rudolph's going to the bank and, oh, it's $4 million, maybe we'll work harder for $5 million next year. Who knows? Greg says, P to P equals success. Now, we're going to see that so much more next year. I wish we would have saw it more this year, but P to P, so successful. So successful. So successful. Brian says, I still believe that Mason should have started before Trubisky. Anyone who knows me knows that has been my opinion all along. You might not be wrong about that. Maybe Mason would have had more success if he had started over Trubisky. But again, we'll never know. You'll never know. Kenny still doesn't want to wait until August to get better. He wants to hold practices with his key weapons during offseason. Yeah. Who waits to get better? Nobody waits to get better. You're getting better every single day. I believe that 100%. I believe if not, like, if him and his fiance don't go take a little short vacation and I'm going to be surprised if he's back on the field next week with his guys working on new plays for next season, you guys. Like, I really think that he's really focused on getting better week to week. I really do. Sean says, Killer Peas, Piggins, and Pat. Those are the Killer Peas. Remember when it used to be the Killer Bees? Brown, Bell, and Ben? It used to be the Killer Bees to the Killer Peas. That's so funny. And Steelers Nation Australia says, yep, I agree. Mason should have got the job. Well, there you have it, you guys. Mason should have got the job over Trubisky, Will Matt Canada, BROC. And is it a good thing that the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't make the playoffs? Well, I apologize for the technical difficulties we had at the beginning of the show. Still learning. Still so much to learn from this. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for sticking around. Next week should be so much better. As the Pittsburgh Steelers like to say, we like to see them get better week in and week out. I'll say the same thing for myself. So, anyone has any last words, anything they want to say, I am going to wrap things up over here in my neck of the woods from sunny Los Angeles, California. For the first time in, about over a week, we've seen the sun. I know that's surprising, but yeah, it's been raining here like crazy in LA. Sean says, thanks, Sean. You're too kind. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Steeler Nation Australia. I think we have one more comment. Regu says, I understand starting Mitch after he was told he was going to lead the team. Me too. But once we acquired Kenny, Mitch should have been on a shorter leash. I agree with that statement. I 100% agree with that statement. Where are you all coming from? We have Kentucky. Greg's from Kentucky. Super nice to talk to all of you guys. I really enjoy this. Brian says, good show, fam. Good show. Thanks, fam. Thanks for being here. Peace be with you guys, I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Thank you for being here. We got someone from Florida. You guys, OC, California. Oh, we love this. All right, you guys, so much happening around the NFL. I cannot wait to discuss. Maybe we'll see some more things happen this week to discuss for next. But next week, I promise I will have everything running smoothly in the beginning. So until next week, you guys, have a great rest of your night and have a great rest of your week.